What's up, all you minties? It is the Uncanny Omar. Hope you can hear me. I'm pretty sure you can, since I haven't changed anything around. And I'm going to be by myself for now. I sent the link out there, and anybody of my co-hosts can join. I think my wife might be joining me. So, how is everybody doing this? Well, it's morning where I am here in Kentucky. But, yeah, I'd love to know where you are from in the chat. So leave those comments in the chat so I can see. And I'll talk a little bit about what we're talking about today. What? No sound? Really? You're kidding. You better be messing with me. Okay, good. Man. Hi from CT. What's up, Phil? A lot of these names are looking familiar to me, too. Yeah, I saw you were kidding. I about restarted everything, man. New camera angle. Well, I decided last night, the Dan Without Fear and myself, we did a show with Shane Davis, who's a comic book artist, who I've always been a big fan of his artwork. And he's into toys and comics, so I decided to showcase like the Transformers as my background. And then while I was moving it around, I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna showcase like these are some of my Marvel Omnis. Since y'all don't get to see them unless I do a tour, you used to see them in my hardcovers and trade paperbacks. So, Bowling Green represent. That's awesome. I used to travel a lot there for work. Portugal. Peruano aquí. Singapore, where Shane Davis met his wife. That's right. Yeah, that was a really cool story. It was a lot of fun to hang out with him last night. And he wants to come back, and he's more than welcome to. So, Toronto, Belgium, Romania. I love seeing all these different countries, and you know, America represent too. But it's really cool that yeah, Houston. What's up, man? Greetings from Greece. Yes, thank you. Well, that's my boy right there, Sean the Suit. Michigan. Good evening. I love that it's evening places too. Indonesia's in 10 p.m. Thank you all of you for joining me for the live chat for our is this a therapy session? What is this? It's not an intervention because I'm not telling you to buy things. As a matter of fact, I try to get you to buy more things. Scotland, much love back to you, man. Thank you. Georgia. What's up, Justin? Hola desde Argentina. Ecuador. Oh, yeah. Todos mis latinos allá de Sudamérica. London. I've always wanted to go to London, man. That's one of my cities I want to go to. Maybe when all this stuff passes. Toronto. I've been there. I love Toronto. I found one of my... this is before I started doing... And actually, Toronto gave me the idea to start recording my comic book hunts and hauls. Because I found... I found two of my missing volumes of Gantz at a comic book store in Toronto. And I was like, oh, I should have recorded that. Damn. West Coast is the best coast. What's up, Asian Johnny Depp? Montreal. I've been there too. Jersey. Sunken City of Atlantis. Liar. Dude, make up your... Where are you from? Hello from Shawtown. What's up, Max? Australia. It's awesome. Russia. Those are two places I want to go. What's up? Boston in the house. I think I was in Toronto and Niagara Falls. That's my only exposure to Canada. Yeah, like it's literally right across. You can see it from the U.S. or Canada side. Hyrule. That's where I want to go. Chicago, yeah, a lot of Chicago. I've given away a lot of these on the channel. I do. I think some of you all know. I randomly pick people sometimes because I like to pay things forward. Since Marvel sends me books and DC sends me books sometimes, I give them away. So these will be giveaways for later. It's the X-Men milestone stuff. It's what's left. I've given the rest away. So yeah, somebody hopefully when things get back to normal, which I hope to do our big giveaway when things get back to normal. Beaming in from the helicarrier. That's what's up. Baltimore. I love that city. Out of Brooklyn, too. Hi, what 2000 AD have you got? Like, little to none. I don't have... I want to get into Judge Dredd, and I think that's a question I ask people is, where do I start reading, or where do you all start reading? Does the Meta Barons 500-page hardcover contain the same content as the box set? It has... I think other than the coloring, at least the ultimate version that I have, it has the same kind of content. And I think the limited edition hardcover has a couple of extra pages, but that's about it. Wait a minute, Omar, you're filming in a different place today. You've been sent to the basement by Basement Omar. No. I'm just shifting the camera around. Move the light around. Let me show you. So this is where you guys usually see me film, back there. Right? And now this is the other side of the room. And then behind this is another K-Lax, and behind that is another K-Lax, and so on. And these are double-sided, so the other Marvel stuff is in the back there. I really should find a way to... That's it right there. That's the stuff up there. All camera tricks. Yeah, I wanted to shift it around, man. Omar, how long you been shopping with IST, and what was your first order from IST? My goodness. I don't know what my first order is anymore because I don't use that email address, and I switched to another email address, but it was 2003. I can tell you my first order, though. It was Teen Titans Volume 1, 2, the Jeff Johns trade paperbacks. They were $9.99, and at the time they were 38% off, 36% off. This is before they started doing the 45 and then 42% off. So, yeah. I believe you said Wolverine's your favorite. What's your favorite story with him, minus the original Old Man Logan? Ooh, Hunter in the Darkness is my all-time favorite Wolverine story. It's a one issue, issue 34, written by Larry Hama and drawn by Mark Silvestri. Love that story. I don't think I hear people talk about that story, but it is my all-time favorite Wolverine story. Collected in the Wolverine Classics by Hama and Silvestri, if you're wondering where to get it in collected editions. But for sure, that one's one of the best. So you got the variant sealed. Oh, okay. People getting Basement of Doom. Yeah, if this stuff were to fall over, man. Basement of Nerd Love. Yes, this is where the magic happens, down here. Any advice for getting custom binds? Currently tracking down some floppies for that purpose. Oof, man, if I had more time, I would still be doing that. I used to be big into custom binding things. Like hunting them is a lot of fun because I go to comic book stores and try to haggle with people, because I have this huge dream, and I have them all now, of having Superman post Death and Return of Superman Omnibus all the way up until where did I stop? Our Worlds at War, or maybe I contained Our Worlds at War. I have that dream, and it still may happen one day. As a matter of fact, you might be able to see them. They're back in that comic book box, the small comic book box. Bunch of issues taken up. Those are all Superman. So I would love to condense them. As far as any tips or getting into them, it's addictive. Once you do your first one and you see the way that it comes out, you're like, oh my god, I can do these for the rest of my life. The tips I will give you is, don't worry about staples. Don't worry about taking out staples. If you want to make the size of the book go down, take out the ads that don't have a comic book page on the opposite side, right? Take out the back page, leave the cover on, and that's a little tricky because the cover's attached to that back page, but it gives you a little bit of room. That's how anal I got with these things. The other thing is quadruple check to make sure that those books that you're sending out to get bind are in the order you need them to be read in a book, right? Just make sure you got issue 1, 2, 3, and then sometimes a crossover, whatever you want to put in there. Just like that. What's up, the little nerd? How many books do I have? I used to have a delicious library. That's how I inventoried things. I don't do that anymore. I don't know. A lot. Probably more than I need to have. What do you think about the Morbius Omnibus? I'm excited for it. Oh, I like all the horror stuff being collected, and I still need that Tomb of Dracula Volume 2 Omnibus. What's the buzz about Alpha Flight Omnibus lately? What? Man, that's like the second or third person that has asked about Alpha Flight. I don't know. I haven't heard it. Is it out of? I think it's out of print, right? The first one. Maybe we'll get a Bill Mantlo one too, a Volume 2. Rob D, would you rather have an original Action Comics #1 or an original Detective Comics 27? Truth be told, I'd rather have my Giant Size X-Men #1 back. If I had to choose one book that signified like everything I stood for. But I had to sell it years ago. But if out of those two, Action Comics #1, man, then I could just retire. Then I could be doing YouTube full time. Oh, so Alpha Flight is out of print. I haven't updated my out of print list. I need to. I really need to. Hey guys, which version of Legion of Superheroes do you want in Omnibus? What an awesome question. Do you want an Omnibus format? Yeah, anybody can answer. For me, I would go with the I guess the run that got me into Legion of Superheroes, and that's the Mark Waid run. And then probably the Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning run. I love both of those runs, but probably Mark Waid first. Alpha Flight Omnibus is on eBay for $185. You get that reprinted. Animal Man. What a good question. Animal Man by Jeff Lemire or Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison. I like Lemire's run. I think it's awesome. I don't think I've ever read anything Lemire has done that I did not like, but yeah, Morrison's, dude. That was my youth. That's what got me into thinking like, comic books can be a lot more than I think they are. So that's the one that I would want. Trying to keep up with the chat until somebody comes in here. Omar, hold on. There was a question in here about Middle West. I just saw it. Now it's getting lost. Sorry, guys. I'll try to answer. Omar, do you know if Parker Martini Editions reprints are going to be at IST soon? I'm assuming once they start shipping things out, things are going to start. You're going to start seeing books that you've seen on Amazon at places like IST and Tales of Wonder and Cheap Graphic Novels. Yeah. So Cesar, so he's asking me, hey bro, for those of you listening instead of watching, do you know if Green Lantern by Jeff Johns Omnibus Volume 2 is being reprinted? I just found out literally last week that it was out of print. I had no idea. And you know how I usually find out? It's when people start asking me and DMing me on through our Near Mint condition, whether they're emailing me or Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and that's at Near Mint Con, by the way. I start getting messages about the same book. They're like, hey, Omar, do you know where I can find Jeff Johns Omnibus? And I start looking because I'm like, yeah, you should be. Oh, shit. I don't think that book is out of print. I think it's just out of stock in that they haven't upgraded that their inventory. I don't think they can. Because they're right now, Diamond is working on a Skeleton Crew. So I don't think they can even update their inventory. So just I would wait before spending $200 unless you want to, to find that once Diamond opens back up. About a week or two after Diamond opens back up and they have enough time to update their inventory. I feel the same about Gotham Central. I mean, people have been asking me about that. And it's funny that Volume 2, yeah, right? Why do Volume 2 books from Jeff Johns go out of print? Because that's the same thing that happened at JSA. Now, JSA 2 is out of print, which is freaking crazy. Are Animal Man deluxe hardcovers going to carry past? Yeah. Oh, are they going to? Dude, we're lucky, El Denver. We're lucky we actually got a deluxe hardcover volume 2. Oh, it's my wife.
There we go.
Hey, baby. Thank you for joining.
Okay, a really weird thing happened. I tried to write my name. Oh, the names aren't showing up, and it just typed ZZZZ or EE. So I'm EE. There we go.
You're EE. Everybody, this is the astonishing Melanie. I didn't have enough time to set up my microphone down here, so she's wonderful enough to help me from another room to keep an eye on the chat. Whew, talking about out of print, Valiant books are sometimes impossible to, and I don't even know what Valiant does as far as like reprinting books. So it's kind of it's out there. All right, Omar and and EE.
Hello.
For saying hi, Melanie. Oh, there it is. Thank you so much for asking this again. What do I think about it? I think it's wonderful. If it almost made it to my top 10 reads of last year. He doesn't do the artwork inside. I cannot remember the gentleman's name that does it, but his artwork is freaking awesome. I love the story too. So in case you don't know, it's about a sentient tornado that comes into town. But there's so much more than that. And if you haven't read it,
that's interesting.
Read the first trade paperback. It's a lot of fun. Wrong show, man. Wrong show. Unless you're copying and pasting. Thank you, Jorge Corona, who did Feathers. Thank you so much. Oh, he's the dude that did Feathers, huh? Okay. What? JSA Volume 2 is almost $1,000. Don't do that, man. Don't do that. Okay, so, by the way, one of the things I am going to talk about is this list that... So, DC has finally started sending me their list of solicitations. I have August, which everybody else does too. I've been trying to get it early, but there's been miscommunication, but whatever. So we can look at that together. My contact at DC is leaving those, and I think she's the only one that knows my name over there. So she told me who now my new contact's going to be, so I'm a little worried about that. So I need to make my introduction soon. So why don't we look at the solicits for August from DC and talk about them. And my wonderful wife, the astonishing Melanie, Melanie, is going to keep an eye on the chat in case you all have a question, okay? So please let me know.
No, it's not. Never mind.
If you have questions. All right. And then we're only looking at trades. We're skipping all the single issues. But let me know if that is big enough to see.
There we go.
Okay. So we have the Blackest Night box set. These are trade paperbacks, by the way. And it just collects pretty much the stuff that you have in the Omnis. And I'm trying to think of what else. It has some Brightest Day stuff. So is it Blackest? Yeah, it's Blackest Night, Brightest Day. A lot of books. Aquaman, Deadly... Oh, hell yeah! By the way, this is the first time I'm looking at this. I haven't even had a chance to look at these. Aquaman, Deadly Waters Deluxe Edition. So this fits in, I want to say, between The Search for Mera and The Death of Aqualad. Or Death of a Prince, sorry. That's really cool that they're doing that. Okay, well, I may get this then. Batman, The Demon Trilogy. Wait a minute. That's a deluxe size. Is this going to be deluxe size? Okay, so this is the book that I was thinking was going to be standard size hardcover because that's the way they've advertised it. $75, and it collects all the stories, or the Demon Trilogy, really. Birth of a Demon, Bride of the Demon, and then Son of the Demon.
Okay, I just tried to, reply in the comments, and it just types easy.
Maybe it's the keyboard.
Oh, never mind.
The Batman trilogy has been released before. I think in trade paperback format. Is that big enough, by the way, for you fine folks? Let me know.
I'll make it better for you next week. How about that?
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
$75. I want to say those dimensions are bigger than standard size, though. Batman, hell yes. Let's talk about this book right here. Batman, The Road to No Man's Land. One of my most wanted Omnis from last year. Let me look at the collection. 724. Okay, it's not skipping issues. I like that. And it looks like it collects Cataclysm and the 2 trades to Road to No Man's Land. All right, now we're talking, DC. Now we're talking. I'm proud of you guys. They're learning. Oh, there's one I want so bad. We'll look at that here in a second. But Booster Gold is getting the second half of his ongoing series by Dan Jurgens. Hell yes. Oh, that makes me so happy because I thought Volume 1 was going to get canceled. I actually knew about this book. I don't know why I'm excited. Maybe because I'm seeing it in solicitations now. All right, here it is. Let's find... Shit. All right, let's see what's going on here. So, JLA Omnibus. This is the one that nobody knew what the contents were. $150. Oh, come on. What? So it looks like it's skipping issues 18 through 21. Those are the Mark Waid issues. It looks like it's skipping issues 29. That's Mark Miller. It looks like it's skipping issues 32, 33. That's Mark Waid also. How? Okay, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they make another one, and it's a Justice League or JLA by Mark Waid. Are they also going to leave out the Mark Miller issue? Come on, DC.
I'm sorry.
Sure, not your fault. It's not your fault. Damn.
I'm sorry to hear it.
Well, I'm just a completist, and I mean, I know a lot of people don't mind. They're like, they're still going to get it. I'm still going to get it. But it's just frustrating that I like everything from 1... If we're going to go 1 through 41, then don't leave out issues. Don't leave out because it's Mark Waid. It's Mark Miller. And it doesn't have... It has JLA 1 million. I wonder if if they'll contain the miniseries. But I love the fact that they're containing the JLA Earth 2, which is a great book. I'm still excited about it. We're getting it in omnibus format, but I don't like those missing orphaned issues. Here's a book I'm excited about though. Flash, Savage Velocity. I can't believe this is the first time we're getting this. This is the beginning of the post-Crisis on Infinite Earths Flash story. So this precedes Mark Waid's run. Mark Waid took home, what was it, 60-something. So hopefully we'll get more of these. It's awesome. Chen Locke. Miniseries collected in trades. Hellblazer. They haven't finished Hellblazer in this format? Huh. That's crazy. We're on volume 23. We're not still on issue 300 yet, huh? Well, good for DC for continuing that then. That's cool. Hopefully we'll get Omnis one day. Justice League Odyssey.
Can I get issues for you and just stuff them in the book?
Don't touch my Omnis.
And then put it on the shelf?
No!
It'll be like this.
You know what? I'm gonna take a wild stab, and I'm gonna contact DC Collected Editions and see if we can get those issues back in there. We did the same thing because Mr. Awesome just reminded me of this. DC was going to make the JSA Omnis just Johns. That's right. They were going to leave out the first few issues of JSA, and people spoke up. They made a fuss, and they changed it. Maybe I'll message somebody. I don't know if they'll listen or not, but we'll see. Oh, that's good. We're finishing out Lucifer, Omnibus Volume 2. Awesome. Glad to see that. That's the remaining run. And if you haven't picked up Volume 1, it's well worth it. Justice League Unlimited. This collects Unlimited 4, 6, 8. Okay, so it's just random stories. Supergirl Cosmic Adventures, the 8th grade trade paperback, new edition. $9.99. I guess that one's geared towards kids, just based on the price. Oh! Hell, we're finally getting this? Okay, so Power of Shazam, Book 1, The Beginning, hardcover by Jerry Ordway. So this is the 1994 series. I think it only had one trade paperback. So, there it is. Volume 1 now, collecting issues 1 through 12. I almost custom bound these too. Robin, 80 Years of the Boy Wonder. And they've been doing that for a while now. Ruby. Is that based on that anime? The Ruby fighting engine thing, and then they made it into an anime?
Nothing else is spelled that way, so...
Yeah. I had no idea DC on the rides.
Yeah, somebody started that, or Like it was independent, right? Like they just created for YouTube.
Yeah, they did the what was it? Fantasy Fight something. It was Final
It was
Fantasy
cool.
and somebody else, another characters, and they were
Oh
fighting.
yeah, I remember that.
I cannot remember what it is. Oh hell yes, Sandman Books of Magic Omnibus. Collecting Books of Magic 1 through 32, Children's Crusade. That's going to be a big ass book. And it looks 1,536 pages. Marvel and DC are trying to see who's bigger. Marvel's got that War of the Realms omnibus that's 1,550 pages. It's gonna be huge. What I do notice is missing, because there's a deluxe hardcover, is the original 4-issue miniseries by Neil Gaiman. So if you're wanting to get this, I suggest reading that first. That reads before this. And thank you so much to Christopher. It's Dead Fantasy with Dead or Alive. That's right.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, that's on the wrong thing. Super Sons Omnibus, the expanded edition. So this is pretty much everything you already have if you have the Superman or Super Sons Omnibus, with the addition of the Adventures of the Super Sons maxi series, all 12 issues. So Wonder Twins Volume 2. I haven't read this. The Fall and Rise of the Wonder Twins. Superman vs. Wonder Woman by Jerry Conway. This is the tabloid-sized epic from 1978. $39.99. And this makes me happy right here because, as some of you all know, Absolute Transmetropolitan Volume 3 has been out of print for a few months now. And this gives me hope that they'll reprint that as well. So, for those of you who have not read it, it's one of Warren Ellis's best books. Has any of that Sandman material been collected in the 3 Omnis? No. This was a set in the Sandman universe, but it's not been collected in any of the Sandman. Maybe some of the Death stories in the Absolute Death, but nothing else from Sandman.
There we go.
Wonder Woman Volume 2, Love is a Battlefield by G. Willow Wilson. I was sad to hear that she wasn't on the book for long. That she's moving on to another series. Hayden, I just got the first Super Sons Omni a few months ago. I don't want to, but I can tell I'm going to double dip on that reprint. It's those extra 12 issues, man. Teen Titans Raven and Beast Boy hardcover box set. What is this? Is this the kid stuff, I think? At $39.99 for a box set, I would assume so. So G. Will Wilson is doing a Sandman spinoff in Invisible Kingdom. Yeah, I liked Invisible Kingdom. I'm going to stop sharing, but that is everything from August Solicitations. The way DC sends me stuff is they send me the files. I didn't have enough time to put it together. Send me the files and then the pictures. Next time, maybe I can put it together for you all.
Oops. This one.
Let me stop sharing really quick. Are Vertigo Absolutes going to start showing? Yes. As a matter of fact, they're reprinting the Swamp Thing Absolute, and that will have the black label. The Absolute Day Tripper I have does not have Vertigo anywhere on the title. It has the black label logo on it. Where's Green Arrow and Mike Grell Omni 2020? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you can.
Okay.
You know what? I'll let you can drive.
All right.
I'll answer the questions. You drive.
What's the most expensive book you own, either original retail price or secondhand? I don't know the answer to this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like what a book is worth now, because I don't really keep up with what books are worth anymore. Just because of I know people do. I know people think there's a lot of people that sell these books, but I don't really sell, so I don't keep up with that stuff. I'm trying to think of the one book that I paid cover for, because I've been buying Omnis since day one, and then some I missed out on, and I'm like, well, I changed my mind. I want to get it, and then it was out of print, so I had to drive around and go to like a local comic book store and pay. So cover's the most I've ever paid for something, and I think it was New X-Men, back before there were reprints, right? We didn't know anything about reprints. We didn't know if these books were ever going to come back in stock. But probably that. Oh, the Akira box set. Yeah, I see how much the thing's going for, and I bought it for, I think, $109. But I'm keeping mine, and I hope they reprint it.
Years ago for Christmas, I was really considering buying you Phoenix. By that one dude.
That's right, Osamu Tezuka. Thank you. That stuff is insane.
And then I was like, it's too expensive. But I looked and I thought about it.
Yeah, that Phoenix is quite expensive.
I don't know the one that you had clicked on before.
Omar, do you ever think Marvel will reprint Planet Hulk Omnibus? Absolutely. They did I was allowed to announce it, but they're doing a stealth reprint of Conan the Barbarian Volume 1, the Marvel years, both the direct market cover and the standard edition cover. That book just went out of print last year. So there's always hope that they'll sneak some reprints in. I love when they do that. That's the beauty that Marvel does. Like, they just sneak books in there for reprint.
Here's a suggestion. Do you own this one?
I do. I have the Fantagraphics hardcovers box set, and I have the Saga Limited Edition Volume 1. Probably. I would say so, because you bring that up, but that is a book that won't get reprinted. Maybe I'll get... Well, I don't even know where Dark Horse stands with that copyrights anymore. But I was going to say, maybe I'll get reprinted as a non-limited edition hardcover, so it won't have the signature. And I kind of wish they would, because here's the crazy thing about and why Usagi Yojimbo Saga Volume 1 is so hard to find. They only made 750 of them, right? So keep this in mind. They only made 750 of these limited edition hardcovers. It's Usagi Yojimbo. But they also didn't know how many they were going to sell. But what they messed up on was volumes 2 through 7. They made 1,500 of each. That's twice as many. That means that people that have volumes 2 through 7, have them in hardcover, now have to find a book that was printed like half as many copies of. And that's insane. I don't know why they decided to do that. They should have just had a small reprint.
Probably they just didn't care, right? They're just...
Or probably they don't know there's a freaking crazy dude on YouTube.
Let's print some more. There's somebody new to the channel.
What's up, Trent? What was it that they said? Just found your channel a couple weeks ago. First time seeing you live. I just want to say thank you for all the great content. I've been binging the channel. Thank you for watching and joining the channel, man. That means a lot.
A question from earlier. Liam says just that what the most you paid for a book, so cover price.
Right? Yeah, but InCal last year I caught it when it was 155 or something like that. Even with a discount, that was expensive.
You are really patient, waiting to buy things
when they go on sale. I did that with Magic Knight Ray Earth box set. How frequent are the stealth reprints? They're stealthy. They don't let me know, really. Like, they do that with...
So, in your opinion, how often do you see them?
On Epic Collections, about 5 to 6 times a year.
Oh.
Like, there was a Venom one just recently. Nobody heard about it, right? Except for comic book retailers that found out there's a new Venom printing. So, as far as Omnis, maybe once or twice a year. They'll usually sneak it into the catalog. That's when I go over the catalog every month. I'm like, oh, hey, this is coming out.
So, what do you think of the casting for the Sandman Audible series? One of my former students, like my first year teaching, she sent me a link. She's like, do you remember me? I was like, of course I remember you. And so I looked it over. However, I'm really bad with like names and celebrities. So I'm just excited that there is going to be one. I'm definitely going to listen to that. I love listening to Audible, to books on audio, and even like looking up on YouTube, like really old sci-fi short stories by Isaac Asimov or, others, and just kind of like radio shows as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. What is that, summer, July, maybe June?
I don't know, but Neil
It's the
Gaiman is the
first.
narrator, so I'm excited about that. I love his voice.
It's the first 3 volumes. Yeah. So
That Ray Earth box set was very expensive, and one more to go. And see, that's what she's talking about. I waited until I think it was 72. And I have this, by the way, if you all want to do this, if you shop only at Amazon or Amazon is your only place to get things, there's a plugin that's called Tractor that emails you if you set a base. I'm a cheap ass. So I set a base
that's
price.
why you have so much stuff.
I set a base price. I'm like, I will not pay more than $75 for this.
Being
Right?
Uncle Scrooge, you work smarter, not harder.
That's right. I learned a lot from my boy Scrooge. So, Tractor then emails you, "Hey, Omar, this book is now less than $75."
Wait, does it say your name?
No,
Hey,
it's
Omar.
It's just me. Ad-libbing.
Personalized.
But it's pretty cool. It's a cool little app or plugin that I use on Chrome.
Let's see.
Oh, it's July. Says Craig.
Yeah.
James McAvoy. Oh, James McAvoy's in it? That's cool.
Yeah. He was Professor X, right?
Look at you.
I remember what his voice is, so hope he's a good voice actor.
I think he'll do well.
Here is the Amazon tracker. It's called Camel, Camel, Camel.
There you go.
That's an interesting name.
Not personalized. I'm out.
X. Wish they would have finished X.
Me too, man. I was a big fan of X. I think my favorite one. That's my favorite one, just because it had the characters from Tokyo Babylon, right, coming in, and they're complete badasses and opposite of the characters they were in Tokyo Babylon. But the other book that I really liked was I like them all, but my other favorite one was Tsubasa because it was like a mix of all their worlds.
Somebody asked this question twice. Let's see. Do you read any non-comic books? If so, who are your some favorite authors' books? Mine is Mistborn Era, one by Brandon Sanderson. Is that fantasy? I'm assuming by the name it's fantasy. I tried to get into fantasy like in high school. I guess I don't have the patience for all of the details, which is cool. It's the books can be really well written. It's just not my thing. I mean, maybe if I listen to them, like a Game of Thrones, I listen to, that could help me out. Like the Shannara series in high school, I read some of those because my boyfriend read them. I love you.
Not me.
You, Omar.
Water under the bridge.
Let's see. So I love Madeline L'Engle and C.S. Lewis, who are Christian authors. I love nonfiction books about like psychology and the brain, philosophy. I like some classics, like The Great Gatsby. I tried to reread. I'm like, I don't like this at all. But I just read Flowers for Algernon about the guy who had a surgery and became smarter.
I love that book.
Inspired by the episode Flowers for Charlie and Always Sunny. I was like, I want to read the book. Oh, that's a good episode. So let's like sci-fi, like I was saying, old stories, anything to do with robots, space travel.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Represent.
Yes. British authors, of course, Neil Gaiman. I'm sure I'm leaving a lot out.
Narnia.
To Kill a Mockingbird is my favorite book. Yes, Narnia. Oh gosh, that's my favorite too. Plus, it's C.S. Lewis.
You can't have two favorites.
Okay.
There was a really good question here from Taylor. Any recommendations for obscure sci-fi comics? Obscure. I guess it all depends on what your definition of obscure is. I really like books like. I guess maybe like sci-fi, like maybe Akira or Saga, Transmetropolitan, Descender, but I think you probably read all those. Valerian, if you haven't read Valerian, that's being published here in America now. Actually, I've got to do an overview of the rest of them. East of West, if you've never read East of West. And if none of you have ever read Fear Agent, then you owe it to yourselves to at least try that. That's my favorite Rick Remender book.
Terry Pratchett. That's who I was forgetting. Yeah.
Yeah, you like the Discworld stuff, you know?
Love Terry Pratchett too. I love British humor. Love dry humor.
Will Fantagraphics reprint the out-of-print Carl Barks Scrooge's volumes and Don Rosa volumes? Yes, they will. They want to make sure that people have access to them, so they will. It's just a matter of when. Ooh, do you have any non-Marvel or
That's
DC
a good question.
you'd like to see as film, TV show, or cartoon? Saga. I'd love to see Saga as either animation, like an adult animation, or anime, I guess.
Yeah, I think it would do better as animation.
East of West, Lazarus, so many. I'd like to see 100 Bullets. Is Invincible? Is that movie still coming, or TV show coming out? Hey, great crossover with Comic Pop. By the way, you believe that Scott Snyder's Batman Volume 2 will contain the Black Label stuff? I want to say I believe it, but they're probably not going to put it in there because it's Black Label, right? Even though it's really the bookend to his Batman story.
Speaking of the Valerian hardcovers,
there are, I think, 6 or 7 out so far. They're done by Cinebook, the guys that are doing Lucky Luke. They actually sent me a few books, and they're doing Thorgal. And I've always wanted to get into Thorgal because a lot of my European watchers or subscribers are like, "Hey, have you read Thorgal?" I think there's six or 7 of them out so far. See, there's all these other things I don't know about. Like I didn't know Old Guard was getting a movie or show. That's cool. And I know Stumptown has got a show now, which I've only seen the first episode of. Invincible is getting a. It's coming as an adult animated series. Still has a live action project in development. Interesting. Okay.
oops. Sorry, guys.
I keep tweeting Fantagraphics to reprint the rest of the box sets of Don Rosa, but a year later, still no single reply. I actually, dude, I actually know the PR person at Fantagraphics. When I used to do reviews for Anime Magazine, she used to work at Dark Horse, and I've actually talked to her on the phone. But even she don't even email me back sometimes. Like seriously, she hasn't emailed me back for like 4 or 5 months now. She sent me like what books I'm interested in, because when I want to, like, the way that I want to build relationships with these comic companies are, I don't just, getting free books is cool, but I also want to say, hey, these books are out of print and these people want books and maybe you should think about reprinting them. Same way, if I would tell Boom about some of these books that are out of print, which is damn ridiculous. But yeah, she hasn't emailed me back, and I don't want to be a pest, but I also don't give up. That's one thing I've learned from Hal Jordan. Do you think we will ever get an Acts of Vengeance Omnibus reprint? Yes, absolutely. I absolutely do. Hulk 1 or World War Hulk Omnibus? Which one? Hulk 1 by Peter David? All the way. Yeah. Planet Hulk or Peter David, Hulk Volume 1. I still would say Peter David, but that would be a closer. I had to think about that. Omar, have you read the Back to the Future comics? I did. I read them in digital format. I don't have the trades or anything yet. Meta Baron as animated would be more Oh, dude, yeah, right? I'm excited for that Dune movie, though. That Dune movie looks awesome. Opinion for Extinction on Extinction Agenda. I love that crossover. It's an X-Men book. When was that? I was in the 8th grade when that crossover came out. Loved it. Killing off Warlock, and kidnapping Storm and Rain and all the New Mutants, and Cable was a newer character back then. He wasn't taking anybody's shit. Dude, yeah, that's the stuff, man. It's tough to pick my top. Believe me, it's tough to pick my favorite events from X-Men. What's a better read? Oh God, Black Sad or Sin City? Shit, that's a tough choice. Damn it. You know what? I'll say Sin City because Black Sad isn't finished yet, and it all depends on how they finish out that storyline. So for now, I'll say Sin City. We need Buffy editions. Omar, Austin, or Bendis? Austin, man. Bendis actually wrote some stuff that. No, wait. Are you asking who's worse? Bendis is miles ahead of Chuck Austin, man. Bendis is miles ahead of Chuck Austin.
This question, I think you answer all the time.
Starman.
Starman. Yep. I tried. Was it 2 or 3 times?
She's tried twice. We're going for a third, and then there's going to be some kind of.
Maybe in a few years, my tastes and things change. So
maybe.
I mean, it's not that it's not bad. I can't relate to it or connect or something.
Justice for Zorn. Oh man. I agree with Melanie. I miss the appeal of Starman. There's a lot of people that have tried to read it. It's not just her. I give her a hard time because she lives with me. But I
didn't know that.
What?
I live with you? No. I didn't know other people.
It doesn't look like it now since you're upstairs. I don't think it's for everybody. I completely get it. It just means a lot to me, and sometimes people get things out of books that not everybody else does, right?
Well, people are asking what it's about. No, so why I didn't like it. I mean, for me, I just didn't connect. I mean, I didn't really like the main character. What's his name?
Jack. The guy that didn't.
Okay, I didn't like Buffy. Gosh, she's annoying, and I love the show. So, I don't know. I mean, I could see that it's a good story. Wait, what's it about? Oh, somebody was asking.
It's about legacy. It's about a father, the Golden Age Starman, that is older and passing the baton on to his children, right? The oldest child takes it because Jack is kind of a guy that he's a collector like us, and I think that's what speaks to me too. But he didn't want the responsibility of being Starman. Well, his older brother ends up getting killed, and then Jack has to take on the family legacy and he's forced into the role of becoming Starman. And it is so much more than that. That is literally just a small little taste of what Starman is.
So do I never get to the part that speaks to you? Like, do you see yourself in Jack?
Well, there's a lot that I see in Jack, the way that he lives his life, and then I also see a lot of beauty in the story.
Like that is similar to you.
Actually, I see myself more like Ted now, his dad, like the old guy.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not saying that you have to see yourself in the characters to enjoy the book. I just always figured that you did because it was so important to you.
It's one of my most important comics I've ever read. Maybe it was also the time that I was reading it too. I was going through some really bad time.
Yeah.
Omar, did David explain why they're releasing singles only every other week? Oh, and the trades, just a way to get Diamond caught up, I believe. That way Diamond can catch up, and then they'll be back to normal, I believe, in July with everything. Somebody was asking me, this is such a Sophie's choice right here, Transformers Phase 2 or TMNT IDW. But me personally, I'm going to say Transformers Phase 2. But close second is TMNT IDW, for sure.
Oh, birthday shout out. Wait, where is it? There it is.
Near mint condition, my lady has been away working to fight the pandemic. First of all, man, thank your lady for everybody on a project, but is home with me for today. Her birthday's on May 30th. Can you give her a birthday shout out?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Laylee. Oh no, I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Lally? Whatever your lady's.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, happy birthday. Thanks for letting your man stay on this chat right now.
Yeah, have a good birthday. Have fun. Relax.
Yeah.
Treat yourself good.
What about other Starman dudes like Mikhail Thomas? Actually, they all make an appearance in the James Robinson run. They all make some kind of appearance in that run, and he touches on. I didn't like the early '90s Starman series. I can't remember. Was it Jurgens? Would you recommend Squadron Supreme Omnibus by Roy Thomas? That was Mark Grunwald. Mark Grunwald's the one that the Squadron Supreme story, and I love Squadron Supreme because it brings a reality to superheroes, right? And I think a lot of people, the way they read it when it first came out, even the way it was advertised, and this is all Marvel's part, it was advertised as like Marvel's answer to Watchmen. And Watchmen is, a beast on its own. And when you go in there with expectations like that, you're like, okay, no, this is not Watchmen. But it's a good story. I really like it. And it was Roger Stern. Thank you, Mr. Awesome. How can we submission system with publishers wherein we can propose mapping for collected editions? We could take some work off the publisher's hands and give them ideas. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Right? But I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea how to. No, it's okay. I have no idea how to. Like, literally, David and I just have a really good connection. Like, I give him feedback, and I feel comfortable enough with him now to say, well, yeah, my wife can tell you. I was like, should I send him that I'm not happy with this Excalibur mapping because they're leaving out stories? And she's like, yeah. And then, he immediately got back to me. That was the highlight of my my relationship with him. Like, just I felt comfortable enough to say I don't think people are going to be happy if you release it like this. And they
right, because you're just giving your opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're being bossy or.
Favorite underrated Chuck Dixon run? Underrated? I love all his stuff, so I always hype him up on my channel. I love his Robin, I love his Nightwing, I love his Birds of Prey. I don't think people, compared to Gail Simone. See, Gail Simone had the pleasure to work with people like Ed Benes, right? And also use the character of Huntress, which was a game changer for Birds of Prey. But Birds of Prey up until that point was a pretty damn solid read.
Let's see.
By the way, somebody was asking me earlier. I was trying to find it in the chat about my favorite Fantastic Four story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I put that up.
It's the Hereafter story. That's my favorite story. That's that you can find in, I think it's in the Mark Waid Ringo Omnibus. It's a good story. And that is why I think Mark Waid's run is my favorite FF run.
Okay. What about Donny Cates' Cosmic Omnibus and the Guardians of the Galaxy hardcover?
Did I not? I did. Hold on a second. Let me pull it up. That's actually on our Facebook page. We just uploaded it yesterday. David was kind enough to find dates for me of books that I didn't talk about or were not in the original list that he gave me. So give me 1 second and I'll look that up for you. I want to say it's November or December. Maddie was kind enough to put it in a little format. And the only book that's missing out of that I need to ask him about is the Heroes Reborn, The Return Omnibus. Because somebody was asking me after the episode went live. And Donny Cates looks like it's, yes, in December. Most Wanted Warren Ellis for him, the goddamn finish. Right? Man, I don't know, dude. I wish he would do honestly, what I want him to do is come back and do another Next Wave story. That was such a fun story. I wish he would come back and do that. One of the questions in the chat earlier was asking what we're doing for old reader, new readers, is Civil War or Identity Crisis, and it's Identity Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when was that Ben Reilly Volume 2 coming out? 8/26, August 26. So if you want to know the complete dates, that's on our Facebook group, and that's at NearMintCon. I'll type it out for you. NearMintCon. Look it up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think Maddie posted it on Twitter and Instagram as well. So.
Okay, so what about the question, the Omni that there we go. What is your most read Omnibus, and how many times have you read it?
Uncanny X-Men has seen a lot of love, but it's also my very first one. I don't want to cheat by looking behind me.
That's not cheating. Why? You have your book.
Right off the top of my head, I want to say Uncanny Volume 1. Fantastic Four Volume 1 has seen a lot of read-throughs, and so is Amazing One. One of my Silver Age Omnis.
I didn't know you enjoyed Fantastic Four that much.
I do. Well, it really depends on the story and who's in it. One that I love flipping through, though, over and over is the Claremont by Jim Lee Omnibus, Volume 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you got lots of answers with this one. Any story run you read only for the art and didn't care for the writing?
You guys sure you want me to answer this? Because I know some of y'all love some of these stories that I talk about. That there's been a lot of stories that I don't like that are very popular.
Well, Civil War, you really enjoyed the art, right?
Well, I was gonna say Civil War. I was not a fan of Civil War at all.
Nope.
But
Everybody sounded the same.
But I love the artwork on Civil War. Absolutely 100% love the artwork on Civil War. Sometimes a lot of the art pushes me to read it. I mean, I love the art in Spawn, and I've tried to read Spawn. But somebody told me that I should keep reading Spawn, and when McFarlane left, and it gets better. Sure, I believe that.
What about Gideon Falls?
Amanda and I reviewed the first volume. I really liked it. Really liked it. Any recommendations that are similar in concept? Have you read Infidel? I don't know why I immediately thought of Infidel. It's also published by Image Comics. Melanie and I reviewed it on the channel. It just has a horror element to it.
Yeah, that was a good book.
We both really like that book.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking about X of Swords. I think that probably will be 2021 now. And just go ahead.
Somebody's The Long Halloween. I'm rereading that right now. I read it like in college. So I'm taking good care of your Omni.
It's an absolute woman. How are you going to get the two mixed up?
I'm not reading it.
Let me look really quick at something.
For a question, what's a good way to start reading Usagi Yojimbo?
You can start from the very beginning, and that's the fanographic stuff. And some people suggest that, right? Some people are like, you should. I always suggest the Saga Volume 1, I think, because Grass Cutter doesn't start until Volume 2, or is it 3? And that's the masterpiece that is Usagi Yojimbo when you get to the Grass Cutter Saga. But if you feel like you need to be a completist and read every Usagi Yojimbo story and kind of sets up the arc, because there are story arcs, but there are also standalone story arcs. You can get the Fanographics box set. I think the softcover is still available. But if you want to jump into when the story really gets going, get the Saga Volume 1. I was just looking at dates from Marvel to double check. Ditko is king size. That's in September. In August, Thor by Jason Aaron, Volume 4 hardcover. I was trying to find that. And Darth Vader, Darth Lord of the Sith, Volume 2 hardcover.
Well, here, while you're looking at that, any tips on diving deep to a comic universe and keep up with it? I guess my first thought is reading it is for fun. So if it becomes like you have to push yourself, then don't worry about diving deep. I guess that's how I interpret the question. That, while you're enjoying it. But then again, just like you, Omar, collecting and keeping on top of things is enjoyable. I know for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this person's asking how to become like you. Well, as a child, get sick, have your uncle give you a comic, and then go from there. It's just me personally, like, obviously I don't have as near as much knowledge as Omar. But I'm not really interested in having it. Just read for fun. And I suppose if some story gets confusing, you're like, where does this go? Either I just get over it or I just go with it, or I ask Omar. How about that? Ask Omar, because everybody else in the world does.
I keep up with books digitally, and then I decide when to release or buy the hardcover edition or trade paperback edition if I enjoy the digital versions of them. If it's a book I want to reread, or sometimes I read the first 2 issues of a digital storyline, and I'm like, well, I think this is a book I want to read, and it might read better in trade. But that's how I usually keep up with it. It's hard though because there's so much going on. You miss X-Men, like for example, I'll use X-Men, right? If you missed out on X-Men for 1 year and that year happened to be the House of X and Powers of X storyline, and you come back,
that's true. Yeah.
you're like, what the hell happened to that? Why is Wolverine Cyclops like getting along? When did Jean come back? What the hell's going on? Yeah, so I get it's kind of hard to keep up with these things.
Yeah,
Only they made I'm sure plenty of YouTube channels now have like a Cliff Notes version of what's happened in the last year of X-Men so you can catch up. Hey, that's clickbaity. I like that. I would like to see a trivia episode, Omar versus Melanie Pie and Jim. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I want help. It'd be all you. I might know something random every once in a while.
Nah, don't sell yourself short, baby. Is TKO Studios still shipping books? I believe so. Aren't they the ones that are helping out comic book companies? I think that's pretty cool. Like they're donating half of whatever they're making to comic book stores. I know our local comic book store got a check from them. Just randomly, they got a check. Previously on X-Men. Wait, is that a YouTube channel? Damn it! If it's not, that's a good segment.
Right.
Melanie, write that down. Copyright that. Where's Dan? Get Dan on the phone. Good copyright.
Those were handy though, weren't they?
Dude, I am so excited about that, brother. Maestro, the Peter David coming back and writing the story of his origin. It's Peter David. I was just talking about how much I miss Peter David on a book. So I'm glad he's back. Also saw that Mark Waid is back on Fantastic Four with Neil Adams. That's going to be interesting. Like a 6-issue miniseries, but still.
Okay. Here's a couple of things. This got the entire collection, Why the Last Man. Can you tell me your thoughts if you've read it? And this is my answer, Why the Last Man, to The Long Halloween, who's asking for a recommendation for his wife. And I believe that Dragon Ball, I can't remember his name. DBZ All-Star. We read this together, the very last issue.
That's right.
We cried together.
Shut up. You ain't got to tell people that. So
that's my recommendation for a book, right? That it's just such a good story. And I didn't think it hit your head. It wasn't over the top with feminism or anything. It was just like, what would happen, right? If there was only one man left in the world.
I mean, a lot of crazy bitches cutting their titties off is what I remember. You remember that?
Yeah,
it's like, why are you cutting your titty? Well, it was so they could.
People would go crazy.
Well, it was so actually that actually made sense. It was so they could do the bow and arrow. Their breast was holding it.
But still, that is rather extreme. But it was just such a good story, very heartfelt. And it was an easy read, right? Like, not saying it was simple, just that it flowed. It was a good flow.
I loved it. And she's right.
We keep talking about it. Need to reread it.
Okay, we should.
All right.
because you think
it calendar.
because I loved it because it's something that you always think about, right? Like every guy thinks about what would it be like if I was the last man on earth. It would be amazing. I'd be banging all these women. It'd be great. But
Really?
no,
I never think, what if I was the last woman on Earth? That never entered my head. I'm just giving you a hard time.
but the way that BKV wrote it is it makes you think like, oh shit, no,
You?
this would not be cool.
Oh, you're on an initial basis now, your nickname basis.
Yeah, I mean BKV, I met him twice. We go way back.
He's such a good writer, so that's my recommendation.
Oh, Omar's a sophomore. I'm not.
Well, that's why I'm marrying him.
I have feelings. Where's Omar? That's not his shelves. All I literally did, man, was just spin myself around. That's it.
Finally. I've been
asking. All right, old reader, new reader, Why the Last Man? We all have it. So we should read it. That'll be probably next month. I'll suggest it to the ladies. X-Men, Austin X-Men Omnibus. Dude, let me tell you something. I hate that run. That's probably my least favorite run on X-Men, but you goddamn right I'd buy it because that's how much I love X-Men and that's how much of a weak-ass bitch I am for that stuff. I love big books. And the way I'll justify it is I'll say, well, at least it's got good artwork by, Philip Tan, Kia Asamiya, Ron Garney, and, whatever lies I need to do in my head to make up for it, that's how I'll justify it. This is from Imperial Chosen, near mint condition, great channel. Thank you so much. Do you have any information on the Infinity Crusade Omnibus? Yes, I do. I was just looking at that. I pulled it up for somebody else. I kept it open.
The All-Star said it was delayed, but still coming?
Yes. We have a date actually now, and it is in December. So sometime in December. There you go, man. Look at this question right now. Look, China listens. What, Melanie, what got you into Kempo?
When I was 10, I wanted to do gymnastics and martial arts. My mom took a self-defense class, and she said you can't do both, which now as a mom I completely understand. So I laid in bed one night. I was like, which one? And I picked Kempo. And I trained till I was 19. Then I went to college, got married, job. And then I came back with my daughters for a few years now. So, yeah, but I definitely remember that night just being like, which one do I pick? And it really did affect the rest of my life. So, yep. Being.
Beautiful story. This gentleman right here has been asking, near mint condition, limited DC exposure, and want to go over Crisis on Infinite Earths. Should I get the box set or 3 companions plus the deluxe edition hardcover? I will say if you're limited to your DC exposure, jumping on to Crisis on Infinite Earths is a little bit of a task. Yeah. Just because, think of it this way. I'll compare it to like something Marvel had, right? If you're more of a Marvel fan, if Marvel had an Ultimate Universe and they had a 616 universe, you know the difference, right? And you know that Secret Wars brought it together, and Secret Wars had all these characters in them, and that's what DC did with Crisis. Except there's many incarnations, there's many Earths, so there's so many characters that are just compacted into this story. And Marv Wolfman, God bless him, actually knows how to write all these characters and just makes this really convoluted storyline that for a new reader it's almost overwhelming. Like, to me, I love it. To me, though, it's also my very first DC comics was Crisis on Infinite Earths #7, right? I bought it because of the cover, George Perez. Very first DC comic book I ever bought. I was confused as shit. I didn't know what was going on. And it took me the second read-through after a couple of years of reading other DC books to finally understand what the whole point was. But to answer your question, get the box set, because I think that encompasses everything that needs to be read a little bit before, and then all the Red Skies crossover events. I hope that answers your question.
I'm going to answer a question really quick, and I hate to interrupt. I wish I could type the answer. Somebody asked the rank because Lionheart trained in Kempo as well. I've earned my 4th degree black belt. So, and earned ranks in other auxiliary arts, focusing on just like Boho or Aiki or Jujutsu and things like that. So, yep, took it for a long time. Now, somebody had a really cool idea.
Okay, before you pick that, hold on just a second.
Oh, okay.
Jorge Nunez, just want to say hi, long-time viewer. Love what you've done to the channel. Keep up the good work, everyone. Thank you so much, brother. Really appreciate it.
I need to read a Venom story. I miss Venom. That was 8th grade. 8th grade age.
We all go through that bad boy phase. No, I remember you used to read a lot of the trade paperbacks. A lot of the Venom stuff.
Oh, it's Spider-Man, the novelizations.
Yeah, you were a big
original stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those were pretty good. My mom read them too. What about setting up a Discord for the mentees?
We thought about that, and I'll be honest with you. I am so like Maddie was telling us about it, and she's like, "But we have to find somebody to like be an administrator on it, like administration."
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm so spread out right now. Just I couldn't do
really
it.
Busy.
Like I can't even really get to all the comments anymore as much as I used to, just because I'm putting out content and then talking to people through email and Facebook and stuff like that. So I couldn't do it, and it just depends if everybody else wants to do it on the channel, then I leave it in their hands to keep tabs on things.
Yeah,
it looks like Sandman hardcover was deluxe or was delayed. And were you gonna pick a question?
Oh no, I started thinking about something else. Sorry.
Okay, DBC All Stars. One thing I liked about Austin's run was when Polaris went all Magneto on her wedding. Yep, she even got the Magneto helmet. That was so weird. That was all Philip Tan that drew that too, along with what he did with Juggernaut. But that was about it. Like I said, I think most of the stuff was, oh man, the Draco. She lies with angels. I mean, I think those are regarded as the worst X-Men stories for a reason.
I see Infinity Nexus was volunteering to be a mod.
Oh, thanks, dude. Okay, how about I bring it up to the group next time we have a meeting, and I'll even mention that. I really appreciate that, my man.
Kimbo.
It was Ras that was asking.
Oh no, I'm really bad with terms. Right, with the Japanese terms. Not Shorinji Kempo, just pretty traditional Kempo. Pretty from centuries ago in Okinawa. He tries to keep it really traditional, so but I do recognize the name Shorinji Kempo. I've heard it before. Let's see.
Preacher or Hellblazer? And then we'll go back to that. Preacher or Hellblazer? Haven't read either yet. Preacher, just because it's all in one. It's just one story from beginning to end, and that's it. That's all you get. There's no more Preacher afterwards. Hellblazer, especially if you read that Omnibus, you will want to read more and keep reading more. But with Preacher, I think there's only going to be 2 Omnis. There's 3 Absolutes, series of trade paperbacks. Do that, man. You'll love it.
Your thoughts on collect the very Spidey Amazing Friends stories?
In collected editions? Well, I'm a guy that loves to put those all into oversized hardcover. I'd love that. Yeah, I'm all for that. I don't think there's even a trade out for that. Maybe there was like a graphic novel for kids, and that was about it. But I don't think we have even a trade for that stuff.
Wow, it's midnight in Singapore.
Finally caught one of these live. Man, thank you so much for joining.
Like a good time. It seems. I've heard before with these live episodes that you're like, shout out to blah, blah, blah country.
Oh, yeah. It's all over the place. Here's a good question from Jose. Hey, Omar, in your free time, do you teach Melanie Spanish? I used to talk to my kids in Spanish and only in Spanish because we wanted them to learn to be bilingual. And like for the first, 5 years, and then we went to Disney World, and that was the day that I'm like, I can't keep talking in Spanish because Spanish is no longer my first language, right? Like it's English.
Right, and you were then they were older, and you were wanting to use wider vocabulary.
Yeah,
And,
like get your ass over here. That's why.
and so you would be able to communicate better with in English. But I love Spanish class in high school and college. I had fun doing the homework. And in fact, before the girls are born, like I got workbooks. I'm like, I'm really gonna get into studying, and then having a baby just kind of went by the wayside. So but I listened to his parents. I follow some of it. I always enjoy, I feel like it's a puzzle. Like I enjoy trying to figure out what they're talking about. It's not like I'm offended or something. And I think the girls still understand a lot of Spanish, right? They don't reply in Spanish, but I know it's definitely good for them that it's developed their brains, right, for another language, which I think is really important. That's when you gotta learn it when you're a kid.
How would you personally recommend reading Hellboy? Read them. Don't unless you're getting them in single issues. Don't look at reading orders online because they will confuse the shit out of you. Because some people do it in chronological order, some do it in publishing order. Follow the reading order of the. If you have a choice between the library edition or the omnibus has, I think, a better reading order for Hellboy. The library editions are beautiful, and if you want to go that route for the oversized artwork, then get that and read that order. Don't go back and forth. As far as BPRD, to me, the stories in BPRD sometimes surpass the stories in Hellboy. But those can be read chronologically. Like I said, unless you're getting them in singles, dude, look online. There's some wonderful reading orders for those books. Omar, should I buy the Conan Omni now that they're reprinting Volume 1? Come on, man. Of course. I'm an omnibus guy.
Maybe they just maybe people ask because they just need reassurance. Matthew just wanted that.
Well, Matthew's been on the channel before.
What he's already thinking.
Matthew knows that I'm the friend on near mint condition that everybody texts just to justify their purchase. Like Rob, Maddie, Dan always text me, "Hey, this new Transformer's coming out. It's $150. Should I?" And I'm like, damn well before you picked up that phone who you were texting. I'm never gonna say no.
Maybe our relationship works out because most of the time I'm the opposite. Like I feel guilty. Like, did I buy this? Unless it's Starbucks, then I don't feel guilty.
Omar's Peruvian. What's your ethnicity, Melanie?
Kentucky. White. My ethnicity is Kentucky.
White girl.
Oh, that would be a great t-shirt. My ethnicity is Kentucky. I'd buy that. Just white. Born in Kentucky.
Omar's an enabler. Confirmed. Wait. I am.
I'll tell you what, though, on the school records, I check Hispanic for my children. Like, you can choose either one? Okay, they'll be Hispanic. Let's put some more Hispanic representation in the school system.
It is a reprint of the original Marvel years, the color one. So, to answer that question, you can't ask Omar whether to buy something. He will always say yes. Right. I mean, unless I know that you're going through like financial trouble, then I will never do that.
Oh, and then do you ever at the point of like wait for it to be on sale? Because if I said, should I buy this, I would go ahead and do it right then, regardless if it was on sale or not. Maybe you should add that in.
Okay.
Maybe you should be a professional buyer. People could pay you to keep track of stuff, but then that's not saving the money, is it?
No, so I don't know where you're going with that. Omar, did you ever hear anything about David about the announced OHCs? You're talking about Venom, I believe? Is that what you're talking about? Venom and Immortal Hulk? I'll ask him for those two because I can't remember. I know he sent them my way. He's going to be like, dude, I already sent you that. But I cannot find them in these spreadsheets. The spreadsheets were a pain to put together because they come from different spreadsheets that he sent me. So I may have left those out, and I cannot find them, whether on the Diamond spreadsheet that I have. But they're still coming. They're not canceled by any means. Just look at that Giants thing.
I noticed that too. Man, we cleaned up yesterday.
Shut up.
We gotta wait for a bookshelf. IKEA can't ship it because it costs more than the bookshelf itself. We
Oh,
just gotta wait. We
here's
gotta
a
wait
good
for the new
question.
hotel.
Haven't read much DC or Marvel recently, mostly Image. That's awesome. And IDW. Any recommendations of relatively recent series from the big two? One of the big ones that I like pointing to people is Annihilation. I like Annihilation. I think it's a good storyline. Any of the Jeff Johns omnibus from DC. I like Green Lantern. I think is excellent. Flash is excellent. I think people that read independent books have an easier time getting into superhero books through that means. And anything Jonathan Hickman has written, like Fantastic Four. I work in the medical field, and in this hard times, you guys keep me entertained. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jorge Nunez. Oh yeah, Viva Peru, carajo! Come on, man, you got to throw that in there too.
Is that part of the phrase?
Yeah, it is. Shit, you've seen Peruvians when they're in the damn soccer field. We're crazy. Gwen, Omar, have you ever hear of Claremont's original plans for X-Men Mutant Massacre involving mutants, involving Jim Jaspers, the Fury, and Nimrod instead of the Marauders? No, I haven't. Has he done an interview on that? I've read a lot of articles about his original plans. Like my favorite ones are the ones where he was talking about if I hadn't been fired off of X-Men, how I would have kept writing and how Wolverine would have died in issue 300 and then the Hand would have resurrected him. And him and I bonded over that because I knew what he was hinting at because I've always made that connection. And we both looked at each other and I was like, yeah, I said it. I was like, it almost feels like another writer took your ideas and kind of ran with that, huh? Like, and he was like, yeah, it almost feels like someone else read that article and took my ideas and ran with it. And we both knew who we were talking about, but we never said the writer's name, right? And Enemy of the State is one of the most popular Wolverine stories. Just throwing that out for people. Thanks for bringing
Everything's
that up.
already been done on The Simpsons, though. Enemy of the State, it's been done on The Simpsons. You can't blame somebody else.
That was a beautiful bonding moment between Chris Claremont and me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, Gwen, let me know if that's anywhere on the internet. I'll look it up if it's a interview or something. Oh, okay. So she says it's floating around on the internet along with a Dark Wolverine storyline. I'm obsessed with it. I'll check it out.
It's fun to be obsessed with things.
How many copies does Marvel usually print of an omnibus? That is a question that they won't tell me the answer to, and because honestly, I mean, it's a business, right? They're not going to tell me everything, how many they sell. All I see are just how many sales they have, like from Diamond, and that's not even everything, right? We don't have the Amazon sales or anything like that. Should I just custom bind that X-Men Age of Apocalypse Omni on Go or what? You mean like post X-Men Age of Apocalypse? Oh, X-Man. What are the odds of an X-Men omnibus coming? I think before we get X-Man, unless he comes up in a movie, or a TV show, that seems to be the drive a lot of times for these. We're probably gonna get other things first, like Generation X. I did my Excalibur custom omnis 5 volumes 10 years ago because I was like, there's no way ever that Marvel is going to do these ever. And then when I shared my list with David, like last year, it made me so damn happy that he was like, "We're gonna do Excalibur," and I was like, "That's the one I wanted, like Excalibur and I already have them, but that's okay. I still want a legit one."
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you. Yes. Oh, sorry. Claremont is my favorite writer, and your interview with him is one of my favorites. Great job on that one. Thank you so much, Len. I really appreciate that. Sometimes I never know how these things are gonna go. You never know when you're gonna catch somebody on a bad day, but he was so super cool. He was just like, yeah, come on, man. We hung out. We got kicked out of a hotel. We had to go to another hotel to do the interview. Dude, behind the scenes on that, by the way, I was going off. I was like, okay, sure. I was like, but this is Chris Claremont. He is a guest here. I'm like, do you know who he is? Have you heard of Dark Phoenix?
What? They didn't want you filming in the...
No, they didn't want us filming in the lobby for some reason. Like, this guy came up to us, and I'm like, this is Chris Claremont. But now I can say I've been kicked out of a hotel with Chris Claremont, so that's awesome.
Do you know who I am? I'm the juggernaut.
And Chris's son was with us, and I could tell that he was like, let's just go. I don't want to make a scene.
Um,
How many times have you cried in front of David Omar? 0.
because
Nope.
you've never seen him,
That's right.
so he can't cry in
I
front
didn't
of
cry when I saw Chris Claremont.
DBZ All Star asked a couple of times about our secrets to our success.
Oh. Woo.
It takes a lot of hard work.
It ain't easy. It ain't easy. There are things.
Right,
I think communication is a big one.
Yeah.
Whether it's a relationship, like whether it's a marriage or whether it's a friendship, whether it's siblings, communication is important because I've learned that that's taken me a long time. That I can't just hold things in. I have to express what I'm thinking. If not, my personality is the type that I hold so much shit in, I blow up, and I hulk out, and it's not good. So the secret is communication. Melanie, I stay in the basement.
to doing fun things together. Like this is really fun to do together. But yeah, communication definitely. You go through hard times. It takes a lot of hard work, and yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
It's a lot more complicated than that, but go ahead.
Yeah. People were pointing out about hotel being private property or accidentally filming people that don't want to be in your video, right?
Yeah, that could have been the case. At the time, I was just hot-headed.
Just you're a fanboy.
It's like, that's Chris Claremont. You can't kick Chris Claremont out. So, and I got hot with that dude, and he was like, "Look, I'm this." I think he was just a messenger, man. You're in condition.
Yeah,
Amen, my brother. Communication is the key. For the record, you're a beautiful couple, and I think all effort is worth it. Thank you. Thank you, man. And thank you to everybody that's watching and all the nice comments. Had no idea when I started doing this that I was gonna be asked that question. Like I thought this was just gonna be a way to like talk about comic books because we weren't getting any new books and we had to stay positive. By the way, I did both Sal from Comic Pop and Shane Davis both complimented me on not doing what most other channels did. And that was one thing I made clear to everybody. I was like, I do not want to capitalize, and I know we're going to lose, or we're going to lose potential viewers, but I do not want to capitalize on this whole. There was a trend going on. As soon as Diamond said, we're not shipping out books, you can go back on YouTube after that happened, that people were just like, YouTube channels were just like, comic books are dead. There's not going to be another printed comic book ever again. Goodbye to printing. Like, I would see these, and I was like, man, now is not the time to get all fucking negative, dude. We gotta stay positive. These things will come back.
Because just like the news, right? Of course, it's important to know how the virus is affecting everybody, but what it feeds off of, right? To get ratings is, this is horrible. This is horrible. And I'm not saying news never does positive stuff, of course, but you're right. Like clickbait, like,
well,
oh, this is horrible, and you go down a rabbit hole.
And that's what it was. And I remember people asking me, they're like, are you going to do a video talking about the situation or the status of comic books now? And I was like, no, because everybody else is doing that, and I'll let everybody else tell the negative news, and people can go watch them. I just want to stay positive, and I want to talk about that because everything was a rumor. And I made that sure to tell everybody that everything was a rumor, everything was speculation, right? I knew just as much as everybody else did, but I was not going to put my 2 cents out there because I don't want to panic people, and I don't want to tell people bad news. I want to keep hopes up, and that's what I did.
Like your episode about comic book stores enduring. Is that the word I picked for you? Enduring?
I don't remember. Yes, that's the word.
Whatever the positive word was. So, Liam asked this a couple of times. Ever read any of the IDW Godzilla comics?
God, yes, and I cannot wait for the Hell book. What is it? Godzilla Goes to Hell. We were supposed to get a hardcover, but I don't see it in solicit. Dude, you don't understand, Melanie. But it looks amazing. Like the artwork is awesome, man. So Warren is saying, yeah, using pandemic to get clicks by comic book channels is the worst thing. A lot of YouTube channels do this in general. It's kind of sick. I mean, I get it. Clicks are good, and views are good, and thumbs up are good, and But I think everybody else was doing it, and I was just sick and tired of everybody just being negative about this. Even comic channels that I liked, right? Like, you can't tell people these bad news. Like, you can't tell somebody, forget that comic books are ever coming back. That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Comic books have endured so much throughout the years, and nobody knows. Look, and we're getting books shipped again. By the way, I'm trying to get the guy from Diamond on my show too. I've been trying for 2 weeks, but apparently he's busy. So once that happens, I'll let you all know.
That'd be cool.
So glad you guys are positive, as you are. It's much better than the doom and gloom. Absolutely. I think I remember talking to a friend of mine. He's a filmmaker, and he was like, "I want to make movies, man. That's it. I want to make movies to make people happy because
Chris?
Yep, Chris. And he's like, let other guys tell the bad news. I just want to make people forget about life for a while. And I guess that's why I started this whole segment. Omar, we all know comics don't exist anymore. It's just a green screen behind you. Stop the lies.
Good.
Lionheart is asking how old I was when I came to the U.S. I was 9, 8.
You always say 9.
Oh, I can't remember. It was because it was in January, right? It's false memory. Dude, I've been trying. This is a good comment because I love Riley. Omar gave us a collected edition fix after Riley disappeared for a bit. I will say, him and I talk because we're on Omnibus together, and he's a good dude. But we talk about how difficult it is to keep a show going, how to keep it steady and fresh, right? It's hard work. Like, even making up episode ideas, even when I get books to do overviews of and reading orders, it's hard work, especially when it's not your full-time job and you have a family. But I came to the realization that, to me, it's never been about the money. Like, we weren't making, like, I'll be honest with you all, like, we were making $0 the first couple of years we were on here. It wasn't until our third year and that's the year that I decided to take it a different route, that we actually started seeing some money from YouTube, and then that all started going back because I like paying things forward. But so I decided, it's not about the money; it's about I actually get out of this. I get out of this as much as you all that watch. I don't think I've said that enough, but I get as much as you all that watch out of this. Omar, do you happen to know of the amazing? Oh my gosh, it better not be. Oh, wait. Delayed? Was it supposed to be reprinted? No, it just came back into print last year. Maybe, like I said, like I've mentioned earlier about some of those other books that are out of print. Give it a couple of weeks until Diamond gets their overstock or starts getting books out to update their inventory. I don't think that one was out of print. I think it might have been just out of stock. I love the JLA Omni content. That's awesome, man. Big Morrison fan, and as much as I don't like the fact that they're skipping issues, I'm okay. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I hope they include the mini too. My man Raz. Serious, dude. Melanie knows. For some reason, I've had so much motivation lately and want to continue to share my culture and the love of it. Would you see it as competition or rude if I did my own? No! Dude, no. Absolutely not. No. Anybody, I think, here's the thing that, like, when people reach out to me and ask me about, do I have any tips for YouTube channels or anything? First of all, I don't know jack shit. Like, I know the algorithms are hard to read on YouTube. But I will say, it doesn't matter if you have a comic book channel, if you do the same thing somebody else is doing. The tips I will give you is do not compare yourself to anybody. Don't do that. Do your own thing.
And that is hard.
And it is hard, especially when YouTube is like, hey, here's some suggested videos. No! So, seriously, do not compare yourself to anybody. Do your own thing. Be your own voice. And that's the best advice I can give you. If you want to do a YouTube channel, man, you do it. And if it's really your passion, don't give up, even when you think no one is watching, because you never know. Even if you reach out to one person, even if you make somebody's day better, then it's worth it. And that's all I got to say about that. That's why I started my channel to talk about geeky things. I'm not after the money. No, it's never that. By the way, I've been in your channel. Near mint condition, idea for video. Complete introduction to the comics in general to people who got into them just right now due to the pandemic, like me. Oh, okay, and might have the time and money to invest. Well, you got money. If money's no option,
You
that's a
wanna
different kind of
invest.
show. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Then
Okay, let me think about that. Hey, Omar, do you know if new X-Men Quest for Magic will ever come back into print? Also, they can, or X-23. Angel, Salvador, or Pixie, or Beak, or Icar. Oh, Angel. So, that's at least my pick. Archangel, always. So, as far as Quest for Magic, that's part of the new, that was the new X-Men trades, the fat trades. Shit. Unless it's an epic or omnibus, it is so hard for them to keep up with what's out of print. I used to keep up because there's a lot of complete collections that are out of print. Looking at Tomb of Dracula #1 for myself, but I don't. I can bring it up to David and ask him how they go about that. That's something we haven't even talked about because I wanted to start with like Omnis first and then Epics. So yeah, he's lying. Always try to be like Omar. What's up, my dude? I'm glad you made it to a live stream, man.
that was mine.
Thank you for the super chat, my brother.
Oh, I lost it.
Started with Preacher and
Yeah.
Sandman. I'm glad you did, man. Those are good. Those are kind of hard to top. Hellblazer, that's a good one. I love that you went with that. Preacher's not for everybody just because of how blasphemous it is, but I love it. So it all depends on your taste, right? Like people ask me, sometimes I get a message, and then their sweetest messages like from parents like, "Hey, I notice you have kids. What books do you recommend to my 10-year-old who loves the movies?" So my first question is always like, what are the movies that they like? And then I go from there, right? If I know a little bit about what they're into, then I can suggest things. I'm coming up with 1,000 part works volumes this year. Thinking about doing some retroactive reviews as an excuse to reread stuff I haven't picked up in a while. Any interest in that for a basis of videos? Yeah, man, do that. The whole reason I started the segment Old Reader, New Reader is so I could get my books and dust them and read them again. Because if I wanted to have a YouTube channel, then I ain't dusting anything. The dust just comes off when I open them up.
You know what? When we were cleaning yesterday and I cleaned off those Transformer shells, I could have dusted, but I didn't.
Man, don't do that. Don't do that, baby.
I don't feel like
But
it.
that was the whole idea behind that was like, these books are just gonna sit there, and that way I'm forced to read a book every week, even if but I read every day, so I still. Hi Omar, this is from Luis. What was the direction change you made on this channel, and how has it impacted the channel and the team after? So the channel originally started 4 years ago as a group of people that would just get together for panel videos, right? Sorry. And then I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to just start doing more of the things that I like and the things that I saw missing on YouTube that I wish were there when I first started collecting collected editions. So what I did was like, hey, I'm going to start doing overviews of books. And that's how I started. And then I'm like, I'm going to start doing my hauls because people seem to like haul videos. And then out of my hauls, people ask me what I thought about a certain book. And I'll tell you this, where I used to review comics and manga and toys, I was so burnt out on reviewing them. So I said, I don't want to do reviews anymore. And now I'm back to doing them. But that took me a while. So how about I do overviews of a book instead? I actually have read the stuff, and I actually know a little bit of the terms and things like that about these books. So I want to start doing that. And then I kind of just flew. And because of that, then I started doing a show like every couple of days because it was once a week. And then I was like, I've got time. I'm going to do a show every day and see where it goes. And when focusing on collected editions, and then I tell you what, it was the segment where that was very popular with a lot of people was the books that are coming out this month, right? And then I started doing my favorite 10 Omnis coming out. And then I started doing the segment, the books coming out in the fourth quarter from Marvel and DC. And that's what got David's attention. He watched a video of us going on Free Comic Book Day, and I've told the story a lot on the channel, but David from Marvel saw the video where I was doing the upcoming books from Marvel It was last year. It was about a year ago, in the fall of 2020 or 2019. I'm sorry, and he said, "Holy crap, this guy actually knows what he's talking about." When he was looking at the watching the video, because he thought I was just a video blogger, right? Like a guy that just went to comic book shops and, oh, this looks cool. But when I started talking about, like, why the hell did you leave this out of this book, Marvel? He was like, "Oh, you're talking to me. That I'm the guy that runs that department." So that was our very first conversation. So there you go, man. I hope that was a long-winded answer. Sorry.
MF
A lot.
brings up a good point.
A lot of older channels I watch now have changed direction due to YouTube algorithms. I respect channels that stick to their guns and do what they do. Yep, I'm the same way. I was told by a bigger channel that if I want to grow, I need to make my videos less than 10 minutes to 13 minutes. I was told by a different bigger channel that I need to put 5 ads in my videos. And then somebody else that was probably about the same size, I'm not going to say who any of these channels are, but somebody else suggested, like, just make it comic books. Just make it, get rid of your friends. And if I were to do that, then I would have started my own channel, right? And so I refuse to go that route, like, because I know the algorithms in YouTube have changed a lot, and if you've had your channel for a while, people are losing money, or losing money as in, like, they once were making a ton of money, and now they're not making that anymore because it has changed. But
and yeah, I think it just changed direction naturally, right? Like you just grew in a natural direction. I know I got more involved just because I think our marriage became stronger and we're doing things together.
yeah,
That they're fun, sharing our passions together. Well, of course, so like everybody knows I like comics, but definitely not as passionate as you. So, and having fun with Amanda with the movie reviews, and over your new reader and Maddie, and I think people just really get interested.
right. I would not leave them behind or anything just to keep growing when, like, because I've had people ask me before, like, why don't I just go and do my thing? And this is other channels that have successfully grown. I don't know.
Well,
I'm also not a sellout either. Like, I get books from Marvel and I'm honest about them. That's why, when I do my overviews, I'm like, well, like House of X, House and Powers of X, I was like, this has glued binding. It's a $50 book. Just giving you a heads up. Just have to be honest about them, or for that matter, the flat spines. I was like, this is published by Malaysian printer. They don't normally publish books, so just to make sure y'all know about the binding. Hi, Omar. Notice your old videos. Notice they say Gaiden. Yeah, that was the first. That's how we spun off. So we decided to come up with the name, the near mint condition Gaiden, and Gaiden is Japanese for side story. So like Ninja Gaiden or.
Oh yeah, you haven't used that in a long time, huh? This is the one I had for you.
Oh, I have a strange question. After all this time, have comics about superheroes never tired you? Melanie knows what I do, and the secret is palate cleansers. That's what I call them. So in between reading a big, thick Superman book or Annihilation Conquest, which I'm going to do, I read manga, or I read independent titles in between.
You're so sophisticated.
Sophisticated with my palate cleansing. Yeah, I'm talking about comic books.
Well, it's a great art form. It is sophistication. Oh man, you remember Bobby Joe? He's that old man.
Yeah, I like that dude.
High school, and he would help kids who couldn't read very well, right? And I loved him. And one day he was like, you being an English teacher, I don't see how you can read those damn comics.
Well, it's a culture thing.
You're right. And I was like, it's wonderful stories.
Sometimes I don't appreciate our culture here, where it's looked down upon because you're reading a comic book. That's ridiculous. You're reading
is it still looked down upon with all the movies?
I think it's a little more acceptable, but I mean, people have superhero t-shirts, but yeah, people still look down on people that read comic books. I'm like, it's somebody reading. God damn. It's not like, and it's somebody's hobby. Why are you gonna go shit on somebody's hobby?
That's what I think. So when I taught, the high school that's rural, and it used to have bring your tractor to school day, which I thought was actually really fun. The kids would drive their tractors to school. If that's what makes you happy to be proud of your tractor, then that's what the kids like. You like what you like. You don't want anyone making fun of you. So it's the same thing. If it makes you happy, then and does it hurt you or others, then who cares?
So this is from Project Viking. It's pretty interesting information there. Marriages sharing creative outlets are 80% more likely to beat the 54% divorce rate. I always think of Chris Rock, right? When I think of that, like Chris Rock was like, if your wife a crackhead, you gotta be a crackhead. If you're going to church on Sundays, your wife's gotta go to church on Sundays. You gotta make, you have to have things. You have to have your individuality. I completely agree with that, right? There are things that Melanie loves that I will not go and
Curler bees.
What I was thinking of some concerts, some of the bands you're into that I'm like, you can go with whomever you want, or Amanda and I love movies, but
I don't want you to go because you'll be like, this is dumb, blah blah blah.
Well, and Amanda and I love movies, but Melanie doesn't. So it's those kind of things. Like you have to find, but you also have to have a common passion, right? And also have your own individuality. Completely agree with that. Let's see. I'm not giving anyone ideas, Raz. I'm just saying.
Oh, sorry.
No, did my degree in
medieval poetry, and I have a great time finding references in comic books. Yeah, that's always fun. It makes you feel smart too. You're like, I know what that is.
Chris Verde, yo, what's good? Did that Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2 come out in IST yet? I hope not. Nope, it doesn't. Let's see. I think I have the date here on our Facebook page. I know I gave it to Maddie. Ben Reilly 2 is the 26th. When is JMS? Shit.
Well, while you're looking for this, just to address what Brian said, that I don't have to worry about you going to pubs chasing floozies. Floozies. Because you said in your younger days, you're like, I don't want to pay.
Don't give people that information. Stop.
At a strip bar, you're like, I could need to use that for comics. I was like, okay.
It looks like in August. Who was asking about Spider-Man 2?
August 26th?
Yes. That's what it looks like. So August. There you go, man. Near me condition, does it help to read Jack Kirby, New Gods, and Seven Swords of Victory, or Seven Soldiers, you mean? To understand Final Crisis? Absolutely 100%. But I also think you need to read his Batman run right before reading that. I'm a simple man. I need books with pictures. Yes.
Here's about Fables. First, which are the super out of print volumes.
Yeah. So I think it's 4 and 7, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, it's 4 and 7, the ones that are hard to find from Fables Deluxe Editions. I can.
I think 5 or 7 of them.
Okay. Then N-Man 40 is probably right. 5 and 7. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who reads real books anymore? My wife.
Lots of people.
Lots of people still read real books. Is it even possible to understand anything Grant Morrison writes, or am I just a dummy? Oh, dude, read his Animal Man. I'm serious. Animal Man is awesome. Like, I was going to say Invincibles, but read his Animal Man
Breaking
first.
the fourth wall.
Dude, his character in that was actually kind of setting up everything he was going to do. I should have known he was going to go balls out crazy. His new X-Men run, pretty easy to follow. His JLA run. Yeah, the thing about Morrison, though, is I don't think he's ever written, like, he's never been pretentious about his writing, right? Like, I think he's actually a pretty smart fucking crazy dude. Will IDW Transformers Phase 1 and Volume 2 get a reprint? Yes, they all will. They're all evergreen, meaning they stay in print. It's just a matter of when they can get to the printers now. See, Elvin still reads. right? Omar, Melanie, I'm no longer talking to my cousin because we used to have the same passion for the hobby. However, he now talks trash about my hobby, so I cut him off. He's a hypocrite big time. Yeah, see, I don't understand people that do that. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, why are you gonna shit on somebody else's thing that brings them joy? And you were probably right in cutting them off, or because you don't need negative things in your life. Stay positive, man. I need a Marvel year. Oh yeah, tell me about it. I talked to the guy that runs the department, or he's the one he's my contact there, and we both really like GI Joe, and we were hoping IDW would sell those. So I made him a deal. I'm like, I'm gonna push these hardcover books so we can make more GI Joe hardcovers. But that would be awesome. Or honestly, the Marvel years they were gonna make them like the GI Joe classic years in hardcover format. But I guess because of the sales of those, they never moved forward with it. I wish they would though. Yes, Absolute Swamp Thing comes out in September, I believe, Volume 1. Wait a minute, why do I see Absolute Fables in solicitation on Amazon? Thought that was canceled. It was canceled, it's just Amazon is really slow and use things as placeholders sometimes. Dude, I've seen them and I try to avoid them because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, especially with Snake Eyes.
How
are you gonna kick it off with Snake Eyes? That's the dude I want. And then I'm like, wait, Duke is here? Roadblock? Scarlet? Shit. Tell David we need a complete Gru Omnibus to get the light. He was on the show he wasn't on the show, but he was on the chat on Thursday. Sometimes he joins the chat whenever I go over the previews, and he was taking people's questions. Even when we broke YouTube, he was still on. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm still on taking people's questions. And somebody suggested that. I don't know if he got to answer that or not. What are your top recommendations for evergreen books to start building collections? There's nothing worse than starting a run, right? And there's big chunks missing. If you ever want to get into Sandman, or those will always stay in print. Image does a pretty good job of keeping their books in print. So like Saga is pretty good. Invincible, those are always still in print. Walking Dead are still all in print. But Image is also strange because they don't make the decision. It's the creators themselves that make the decision. So all the people, talking about Spawn hardcovers, wanting them back, it's all up to Todd. If the Todd father doesn't want those back in print, then they don't stay.
The Todd father.
That's what he is. They don't stay in print. Hey Omar, you know why IST's not offering 50% off new books? I know you use Cheap Graphic Novels. Cheap Graphic Novels is our sponsor. I don't know. Maybe because they're having to pay, higher end distributors to do it. I really don't know the answer to that. I'm gonna take a couple more questions. Then I'll call it a day, and thank you all for joining. And at this time, I just want to remind you to hit that like button if you haven't hit like yet. And I have checked out that Spider-Man or that Spawn figure, man. I came so close, but he's fine. He's got his 3 million. See, that's the thing. Like Todd is a guy that he's very self-cautious too. Like he's created all these wonderful things. His artwork, everybody, he's lines for days at conventions, and he's still self-conscious about his work. Yo, thanks, my bro. Always support the channel. Thank you, Chris Verde. I really appreciate the super chat. Always appreciate it.
Oops. I'm at a...
Any chance for a Doctor Strange collection? Yeah. I think first they're reprinting the Volume 1 first, because I think they want to keep those in print to keep people buying them. And then they do stealth reprints of the other volumes too. Like recently there was a Venom, there was it a Thor book I think they recently did a reprint of? Just reminded me, are there differences between Omnibus and Absolute collections of Sandman and Death? Other than the size? No. And it honestly depends on how you want to collect them. There are 3 Sandman Omnis and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Death Overture. 7 Absolutes. The Absolutes are gorgeous, though. New condition. You got me to buy Adventures the Crossing. That's awesome. Are you serious? I think that thing is out of print, man. What should I buy next that is along the same lines of controversy? The Clone Saga. The Clone Saga. Chuck Austin's run. Get the Chuck Austin run if you want to see some controversial X-Men stuff. It's collected in X-Men Reload by Chuck Austin, I believe that's what it's called. It's horrendous. Thanks for doing these Saturday chats. Fun to watch and participate. Thank you for participating and watching, man. I like these live videos with you and Melanie. Keep them going. I woke up at 11 just to watch the show. Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, thank you. I have heard a lot of feedback to keep them going, even when things get back to normal. I'm buying Adventures the Crossing too next month. I should contact Terry Cavana. I'm dead serious. Got it for $60. That's awesome, dude. I should contact Terry Cavana. I'm like, man, I just made you some sales. You're welcome. I saw your Avengers the Crossing video and wanted to tell David a bit. Oh, okay, so here's a funny thing, actually. He watched my channel right before we started talking, and he showed me a list of reprints that he was gonna do. And he was like, hey, what's that Avengers book you want that you like so much? It's out of print right now. And I was thinking, the Avengers book that's out of print? Like, are you talking about the Avengers? And he was like, no, it was something else. And he was talking about Avengers the Crossing. And I was like, oh, man, don't reprint that, dude, because I don't want you to lose money. I'm like, so I stopped them from reprinting Avengers the Crossing because he heard me talk about the book. I'm like, I think me and like 10 people like that story, man. And he was like, okay. And he laughed about it. He's like, I thought I liked that story. But he also liked Atlantis Attacks, right? Which is also another book that people don't like. So I told him, I was like, yeah, man, don't print it. Because if they print like 1,000 of them and then they move 100, he's going to be like, I ain't talking to that idiot ever again. Good evening.
Wait.
And Golden.
Go ahead, and I'll bring it back.
Good evening. At least it is in Italy from Manuel. Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, or Modern Age? For me, it's a mix between modern and gold, I swear. Hey, Omar, are you going to update your most wanted reprints video now that David has made most of the map? I am. I was just waiting. I'm literally waiting for Diamond to update their inventory. And it's impossible for me to check if something's out of print. Because if I announce it's out of print, then they find another palette of something. Then it happens. They're going to be like, oh, this isn't out of print. I hope they reprint Hickman's F. I think Hickman's FF will be the first Jonathan Hickman work to get reprinted from Marvel before they do anything else. You done it. Now I got to track down Atlantis Attacks. Atlantis Attacks, man. Yeah, that one gets a lot of hate. 2020 room tour. I got to get another Kalax. I was thinking maybe sometime in the fall for that. Because I think I did a fall tour. Y'all really like those, and I can do those. I remember some people they were like, dude, I watch this for an hour. I can watch you go on. I'm like, really? I think I talk way too much. I mean, I'm on here for like 2 hours right now.
Well, if people say that they like it, then I suppose you don't, do you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say? We will have X-Men Volume 5 and 6, or that is no-go because they have collected a good chunk? Oh, I say we will have a Volume 5, whether they call it a Volume 5 or whether they call it the Prelude to the Mutant Massacre. That will come out, and they will not make a Volume 6. They will keep it a Mutant Massacre name. So I'll be updating my reading order as soon as I get Omnibus Volume 4. And I'm going to mix in the trade paperbacks in there because people have asked. What's the mysterious palette find of Slot Silver Surfer? No, I think it was just a box. It was a box that they found at Diamond, and unfortunately, the inventory between Diamond and IST, who actually ended up getting it, they had too many in, and some people got it, and some people didn't, which sucks. I like that book a lot. Melanie's going to read it. The Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer.
Oh, yeah.
I think we need to do an old reader, new reader on that, too. Do you think Marvel will reprint smaller volumes like Bishop's Crossing Man? See, that's the thing I want to talk to David about next time I get him on the phone, because I think that's a phone conversation. It can't be email, because I need to express how much these books are out of print, but they're also not omnis, right? So how do you reprint them? Do you reprint them as omnibus? Because let me.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm
no.
sorry to interrupt. Wait.
Okay.
Were you done? A couple Davis Omni. Oh
Okay.
my
I
gosh.
was done. Gwen, I'm gonna talk. I'll
That's
talk to
pretty cool.
David, and I'll see how they'll even go about that. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's really cool. Maybe we
Oh,
should. Oh no, work something. Work that into the channel.
came out last couple years. Yes, they do one every year. So Volume 3 is coming out this year, as well as Omni. We should make T-shirts. I'll be OM, and then when we combine like Fusion, we should wear.
I've been watching Community lately on Netflix, and whenever Shirley and Annie go, "Aw," I'm like, "That's me."
That's what you do. Are we still getting the Jim Lee reprints? Yes, sir. Shane, December for Volume 1, 2021 for Volume 2. 2021 is also going to bring us Moon Knight, Thunderbolts, Cole, New Warriors, Uncanny Volume 4, and yes, Uncanny by Claremont and Jim Lee. So, Omar, get us a Spider Gwen Volume. I think I'll have an easier time getting talking them into an omnibus, honestly, because I don't think they sold that well. But I can be like, look, man, she's a popular character. Spider-Verse 2 is coming out. She might get her own movie. Come on, David. Maybe, no.
That would be really cool. Eric the Loco fan has been he's been chatting us up, and
Okay.
so he was asking about Avengers earlier.
Okay.
And so I think that's definitely the epitome of superhero movies. So we've definitely seen it. We definitely like it. And the other
Endgame
person is,
or Infinity War?
I'm just talking about in general.
Okay. Carry on.
And the other person is me. I am Omar's wife, Melanie. The astonishing Melanie. Omni.
Or I am her husband.
Well, it's your
X-Men Supernova OHC reprint. I didn't even know that thing was out of print. Really? War Kings reprint, would it be easy money? That thing sold out pretty fast. That's how I talked David into doing the Annihilation reprint. I'm like, do you know what would happen if you made Annihilation reprint and Bendis Daredevil? He was like, I don't know. They didn't sell that well. And I'm like, yeah, that was 10 years ago, man. This is the now. And it happened, baby. It happened. So that's how you make things happen. I mean, it was pretty ballsy of me to even suggest that on our first conversation, too. Amazing Spider-Man with Straczynski is out of print or out of stock. Volume 1 is out of print right now, but like I said, give it a couple of weeks, so we can see what the actual inventory is when they start going in with the full crew at Diamond. All right, Melanie, I'll let you choose the last question because that's all we have time for.
Oh, don't put that responsibility on me. Let's see. Well, what do you think of this comment?
Has David's thinking towards chronological omnibus rather than creator-centric softened? Do you think Omar, as a majority, prefers chronological? I have stated my case for. So the way that I worded Excalibur to him is, I think Excalibur, calling it a Volume 1, would sell just as much as Excalibur by Chris Claremont and Alan Davis. Because when people see a Volume 1, they think immediately there's hope for a Volume 2. And I said, if you just make it centric on Chris Claremont and Alan Davis, I think people will think this is a one-time thing and there's not going to be any more. So he was cool. He was like, I completely agree. I'm going to tell him to make it chronological. So it's kind of wish what I can do with DC and this JLA thing, but it doesn't seem to bother some of y'all. Maybe it's just me. It's a continuity chronological kind of guy. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We can be found on Patreon, Redbubble. Hit that like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I don't know why you're here. So yeah, very, very much appreciate everybody, chatting us up. It's wonderful. It makes me forget about all the shit going on in the real world, and I hope we were able to do the same too.
Yeah,
So,
and thank you for the compliments in the chat. I wanted to also answer back just some little things people were saying, but again, my keyboard's messed up and all I can type is Z. So hopefully, in the future, I'd like to be on again. And while you're talking, Omar, I could respond to people in the chat by typing as well.
Sure,
So,
sure. Thank you for helping me. So,
you-
everybody, please stay healthy, safe out there. Much love to you all. I'll be back next Wednesday, or no, next Saturday. What day is this? Saturday. I'll be
I
back
think
for.
somebody asked in the chat.
God, I
Like,
don't
is that
remember
what
the
day
day.
it is?
Yeah, I'll be back on Old Reader, New Reader on Tuesday night, and next Saturday doing this live Q&A. So everybody have a
Yeah.
wonderful day.
There you go. Be safe. Bye.